Hi, this is Aaron Wilson for KPRC2 Sports. I'm at MetLife Stadium, and it's after midnight, and the Texans had a rough night, to say the least. This stadium turned into a house of horrors on Halloween night for the Texans as they lose a game that was very winnable, and they let it get away from them in the second half. As Dennis Green once said, they let them off the hook. The Texans didn't tackle well in the second half, and their pass protection was substandard throughout the game, and I don't know what the answer is. It's going to take someone smarter, more of a football savant than me to understand where the pass protection issues lie, but it's generally communication, alignment, assignment, technique. A career-high 8 sacks for C.J. Stroud. Previously it was 6 sacks in his second game of his NFL career last year against the Colts, and the Jets get him 8 times and 11 quarterback hits. The offensive line, those guys are hurting, and their pride is hurting because they're a prideful group and they care, and they're letting him down. And he's not playing his best football. He called his performance embarrassing. I don't know about that. I think he's running for his life back there, and it's affecting him. He's making him, kind of happy feet, gun shy, and that would happen to any quarterback. I really cannot understand the wildcat passing play they called for Joe Mixon. We'll talk to Bobby Slowick about it, I guess, next week when it's not as relevant. But that, to me, was a turning point in the game. And I know Joe Mixon said in the locker room, hey, you could have completed that. They were pulling on CJ. There was some interference. I just don't think it was the right call. If it worked, as Rico Ryan said, trick plays, when they work, they're great. When they don't, they're dumb. That said, it just seemed to throw everything off a rhythm. They missed field goals. Kaimi Fairbairn, one of the best kickers in the league, uncharacteristic, to doink a 27-yarder. That said, woulda, coulda, shoulda. This team is not there, and they don't operate and look like a team that's going to make any noise in the playoffs. They need to improve a lot. Joe Mixon, yes, he had 100 yards again. He scores a touchdown. But in the second half, they made adjustments. He discussed that and how the Jets reacted to the first half success, took it away in the second. And then on defense, guys running free. Jalen Beatrice says that's man coverage. He just outran me, and he's got to be better. The energy was poor in the second half, and they didn't look like a team that was ready for the short week. The Jets playing at home, the Texans traveling from far away, but there's no excuse for not having a better effort. And I thought they did embarrass themselves overall here on an Amazon primetime game, and now a game that they're not going to be favored. They weren't favored in this one, and Detroit, everyone's going to expect them to lose, even with Nico Collins coming back. Some of the bright spots: Tank Dell played very well, Joe Mixon. And overall, though, it has to get much better. And there's concern about Kenyon Green and his shoulder, and he has a history of these shoulder injuries. Doesn't look like he has the torn labrum is the initial diagnosis, but still not good. And I would expect to see Kendrick Green out there next week. As Kendrick said, too, very accountable. He's got to knock the rust off. He didn't think he played well. He said, I got to be ready when they put me in there. Overall, a tough night, and Will Anderson, it looks like they've avoided a long-term injury, hopefully, for him. They've got their fingers crossed that this is something that he'll be able to come back from relatively soon, and we'll see if that's as soon as the Lions game. It was encouraging that he stayed out there in full equipment in the second half. Doesn't always mean something. Sometimes it does, though. And normally when a player has a very bad ankle, they get off of it. They don't want to put any weight on it at all, and the medical people will shut that down. Overall, my takeaway, the Texans cannot play this way and expect to be taken seriously as a playoff contender. Sure, they'll make the playoffs, they can win the South Division, but if they play this way throughout the rest of the year or in the playoffs, it'll be a quick end to the season in the postseason, and the Texans will be thinking about what do we got to do, how much do we have to change this team. But if the offensive line play doesn't get better, they're going nowhere fast. Reporting for KPRC2 Sports, I'm Aaron Wilson signing off from MetLife Stadium.